Hello. Good evening to all the viewers. On behalf of Natural Path Heartfulness Center, Oman, I welcome you all. Natural Path Heartfulness Center is a registered organization which comes under Heartfulness Institute, which is a non-profit, non-religious organization which spreads over more than 150 countries and having more than 13,500 trainers all over the world. It says, the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest their patients in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease. It's been a privilege to introduce such a wonderful human being whom I have known personally, Dr. V.G. Balasubramanian, who has done an excellent work in the field of women welfare, cancer welfare, and life coaching. And she spent last 2 decades of her life in USA. She has worked at many institutions, prestigious ones in USA, such as Mount Sinai School of Medicine in New York and University of Chicago hospitals. She has published in pedigree journals such as Nature Medicine. And after spending 20 years in USA, she has now returned to her hometown Chennai. But her passion for scientific inquiry and an interest in integration of mind, body, and spirit has paved an excellent way in the work as leadership and wellness coach. Through her workshops and one-on-one sessions, she empowers people in all walks of life to shape their own successful career path and enable them in wellness. She has been practicing heartfulness meditation last 20 years, and she is a heartfulness trainer, specifically focusing on patients' mental health challenges and cancer, and focusing on women welfare. Please welcome Dr. V.G. Balasubramanian.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and I look forward to this time with you. Even though we are not having a one-to-one interaction, I really hope that some kind of a resonance or connection we can make through this webinar. So to start our presentation of today, I would like to, when we decided on this topic, women, well-being and cancer care, I could just envision my husband rolling his eyes and saying, women, that is a topic for a couple of webinars by itself. And you've thrown in well-being and cancer care with it. I mean, he's right. We could write chapters on ourselves. But we have this short time, and we'll try to do best on all these topics because they are very close to my heart. I would also like to start with two very important points. One is that she referred to the doctor of the future. But currently, we are nowhere close to such a doctor. So any form of counseling, coaching, meditation is not a substitute for well-advised treatment from doctors. So anybody who are suffering from problems need to see a professional and follow their advice. And the second thing is, whatever I share about women today is about the average Joe, the average woman. There are always outliers, and I'm not trying to stereotype cast anybody. And there is no offense or non-inclusivity of men if they are attending this seminar. It is just that we are going to be focusing on the female energy or how women are at large, not in contrast to men, but including men in our lives. I'd like to start with what are the three fundamental pillars of health: rest, nutrition, and activity. And there's tons of information out here on these three topics, so much so that most of us are even confused nowadays. Do we need 6 hours of sleep, 8 hours of sleep, 12 hours of sleep? Do we need to eat the keto diet? Do we need to eat Indian diet? Do we need to do Mediterranean diet? And fitness and exercise, there is just galore of options. So it's led us to be an even more confused individual on these fundamental pillars of health. But given all the information that we have, 90% of women are not able to actually make these three an integral part of their lives. There is this constant slump that we have, as you can see in this picture. It's not just an outer exhaustion, but there is also an internal and inner fatigue. And we call this stress in today's modern world. I was conducting a health camp at a school, and there was a 3-year-old pre-KG kindergartner, and she just didn't look very happy and vibrant at 9 a.m., which is, at her age, which is peak time. And I asked her, "What happened, my dear?" And she said, "Auntie, I'm stressed." And I was a little taken aback. She didn't have the language for more than that, but she certainly picked up stress. And she certainly knows that stress means I'm not vibrant, I'm not alive, I'm not energetic, I'm not joyous. Wow, I mean, that's a lot for today's society, right? For women, the top 5 pressures for women and what stands out for us universally. Doesn't matter what background, what culture, what age, which country, this juggling act that women go through, where everything is thrown at us all the time. And we are expected to balance everything, and not only balance everything depending on who we are, where we are, the kind of solutions that we come up with, the poise, the grace, the equanimity with which we hold ourselves. That is one of the huge pressures that the modern woman actually faces. And where I work as a coach is that I work at these 2 levels: the body, the mind, and the emotions. And what you see on the left hand side in red, and it stands out in red, is typically the whole gamut of feelings and emotions that we are going through. I mean, forget the pandemic, forget the problem of the coronavirus and all that it has imposed on us. But all this was there even before that. This is a lot to carry on our plates. And what I do through my work and through the wonderful, superb tools of heartfulness, which are very simple and easy, is actually help ourselves transition to this side. And what I really love as my work is that I am not exempt from all this. I sit with all of you all, even as a coach in this bucket, and I use the very same tools to go from being tired to fresh, to go from stress and feeling lost to being very clear about who I am, and really from fear to courage. I want to start with the fundamentals of our thinking. Many people here are probably more learned than I am, thanks to the books, thanks to our education and the exposure. But because this is a webinar and I don't make eye contact, I would like to start from the basic and split this word into disease. This disease, if you hear the word disease and the diagnosis of you have cancer, you have type 2 diabetes, you have osteoporosis, you have a liver failure, you're going to need dialysis. The word disease is something that it's untouchable. We don't want to touch it. As long as we don't have it, we are fine. But if you look at the word, it actually splits into 2, dis and ease. When we are not at ease, that is all a disease is. And what happens is, over a period of time, acute disease is good because it's your body and your mind telling you, hey, something is not okay, fix it. Hey, you're sitting on your chair too long, get up and walk. It's a feeling of uncomfortableness. You haven't drunk enough of water, you're not getting enough fruits, you're sleeping too late, you have your smartphone on when you sleep. These are all acute instances of dis-ease and actually pushes us into well-being. But when this ease accumulates over time, it becomes very chronic. And then the words get together and become disease. It's no longer dis-ease, it's disease. And that's when all the problems start. So today's focus is how we can be still at the stage of dis-ease and what we can do to ourselves for that. I would like to start for women at 4 levels at which the dis-ease occurs. My first one, and the most personal and passionate for me, is the body. Although heartfulness is meditation of the mind, I always start with the body. Because the body has a fantastic way of keeping the score. Take a moment for yourselves right now as I speak. What is the message that we women give ourselves, self included? I mean, I hate having mirrors at my home because, then you're looking at your fat stomach and, your skin and your dark color. And the mirror is not your only reference point. There is Hollywood, there's Bollywood, there's the cousin next door who's perfect. There is the girl, the 80-year-old woman who's doing crunching abs and has a flat stomach. I mean, reference points all over the world. Think back as to what the message is for your body every day, every time we are in a group of people, women, whom we should celebrate, but instead, what kind of messaging we keep giving ourselves. And I'm telling you this. My mother has this way of saying, it's only in the moment. It's only in the moment. Nothing is ever in the moment. The body keeps the score. And you know how the body keeps the score? It does not remember what was the thought process. It internalizes the feeling, it internalizes the emotion. And depending on what it is, it goes to a certain organ. There are wonderful books by Louis Hayes. Again, not a substitute for clinical diagnosis, not a substitute for clinical treatments, but just to show you a tiny bit about how our body messaging can put us into real diseases. So, what do you do? And I really love this because I give this to all my clients. You know, there is a case of where somebody told their body very softly that I want to be your friend. And the body took a long breath and said, I've been waiting my whole life for this. This was one of those messages that just took my breath away. Pause, women, examine yourself. What is the messaging you're giving yourself? Whatever be the circumstances, your whole life you've been told that dark is not good. You've been ridiculed for being overweight. You have to do something about the things that you can do, but yet, what is the message that you're internalizing? The next level, just move up from the body, and it's the mind. Women, letting go is not easy. I remember the times when my daughter or son were unwell, and my husband and I stepped out for work, both at the same time. And if my husband is listening in, it's not an offense. I'm not pinpointing blames, but I'm pretty sure that by the time he reached office, he forgot about the kids and their temperature and their fever and their diet and, if they were comfortable. But all day long, for me, it would be on the back burner. There was a part of me, my soul, my spirit, my body, my heart, half here, half there. Can you imagine the dis-ease that puts on you? It's terrible. And then cannot breathe until I get home. And then when I see my daughter is better, there begins that, oh, I didn't finish this at work. I didn't finish that at work. So letting go is very difficult for women. And above all, we add to the pressure by ideas we have about ourselves, about what is perfection. If I clean the countertops and the backsplashes and my kitchen is shining when I go to bed, I'm a perfect woman. If my carpet is not dirty, if my garden is fine, if I've planted squash and brinjals in the summer, I'm a perfect woman. I mean, the list is endless. 80% of the women in today's world don't feel good enough. It's something to really think about. I like to throw this because, if we had things like this where we could just turn off the switch when we get home, or we can use a vacuum cleaner and remove all the thoughts that we have, we would be in very good shape. But unfortunately, we don't have that. The next area for women is release. Women have this enormous capacity to absorb pain. Their own pain, the pain of their loved ones, extended ones, community, nation. Do a survey on how men and women react to the pandemic, the plight of the laborers, the plight of the unemployed people. You will be fascinated by the responses between the two groups. You internalize the pain. Do you find your ways to release? During this pandemic, and India went through 45 days and we're going even through more of lockdown, I had 2 or 3 amazing women friends support me. We connected every day and we spoke, we laughed, we cried together. But I have to tell you that it was the best moments of my 45 to 60 days, having 2 women this way to hear me. But often it's not just speaking, it could be things like lighting a candle. It could be watching a movie. It could be dancing. It could be singing. Find something that allows you to release your pain. Because when you release your pain, when you release the burden that you're carrying, it doesn't need to go inside your body and mind. It doesn't have to sit in. It's out. It's released. But make sure you learn to release it in a very uplifting way, in a very beautiful way. Because if you only cry and if you only share sob stories, remember the messaging that you're giving back to your body. And the last, the most important one is community. Finding a group of women whom you can be with. And this actually is one of the biggest challenges for women because we bring a lot of judgment and prejudice into it. We start off well, but then there are so many things we don't like about the other person. I would like to bring a story here. Its roots are in agriculture, which is what my roots are also in. There is a unique method of growing called the three sisters cropping. And there, what is? Have you seen? If you're in the western part of the world, or you've seen movies, you see rows and rows of cornfields, right? Perfectly planted corns, all to the same height, very well manicured field with a consistent yield. But there's absolutely no variety, right? But it also requires a lot of machinery. It requires a lot of chemicals, fertilizers. In this three sisters method, three crops are chosen which are beneficial to each other. The example is there is a corn, bean, and a squash. Patches of ground are prepared all over, and the three seeds are planted in patches close together. The corn grows tall and upright. The bean, which is a creeper, winds itself around the corn stalk, taking support. The bean plant is very good at fixing nitrogen in the soil, super amounts of nitrogen, which the corn needs in excess. The squash has bright and beautiful big green leaves that spread all over the ground, keeping the ground cool and moist with no weeds. And what happens at the end of the cycle is you get an absolutely gorgeous, bountiful yield, which had no machinery, which had no chemicals, fertilizers, and absolutely green and beautiful to look at. So I've been telling a lot of the people whom I work with, find your corn, find your bean, find your squash, cultivate yourself with this intercropping method. Find the strength of somebody else instead of their weaknesses. I have many clients also who tell me who are very lonely, women and loneliness, they go hand in hand. Tell me, but we don't have somebody like this. Yes, not yet. They're coming. And what we can do is we can prepare ourselves. We can be in that space of non-judgment. We can prepare ourselves to be in the space of no prejudice, no cultural boundaries. Prepare our heart, open our hearts up for such wonderful kind of community. So we have many spheres in our life which we have no control over, no influence over. But there is one little sphere which we have total control over, and we can empower ourselves in that sphere. And that sphere is just dependent only on ourselves. What we do with ourselves: eat, sleep, exercise, read, socialize, educate, donate, things that are dependent totally on ourselves. And I call this the control sphere. If this is whole thing is life, this very small circle here is dis-ease. Most often we take this disease and we blow it into life. This is where the treatment is. Go to your doctors, go for regular screening, go for checkup. There are so many beautiful books right now out by Dr. Neil Bernard in the US who tells you how you should eat, what is important. Dr. Luke Cautino, Dr. Nandita Shah, tons of people who can tell you, how to eat, how to sleep, how to exercise. That is the small piece, help yourself. But this is the bigger piece, and that's where the support comes. Where your thought goes, that's what your energy is going to flow into. You want to put all your thought here, this is going to become the whole circle. You want to put all your thought here, bit by bit, this shrinks. And we've seen this happen again and again to a lot of people. One of the biggest challenges I've had, and I love working with my mother because she's my experiment, She will always tell me, no, you can't change anything, Your party was like, your grandmother was like that, your grandfather's like this, your uncle did this, your aunt did this. So she really is my template, to turn around. One of the biggest myths that we have is we cannot change our DNA. But it's no longer true. fantastic studies in neuroplasticity show that we can rewire our brain. Of course, this is not the new age mantra where you can redo everything. Not true. 50% is definitely genetics. 10% is our external environment over which we have absolutely no control. But 40% is a very big amount on which how you can learn to change your DNA. And that's the field of epigenetics. Because we are also into well-being, the most important thing is when this ease occurs over a long period of time, inflammation sets into your body. So look up ways and means, good books to read on how you can control the inflammation in your body. For a webinar of this kind, what I can show you over here is that nutrition is very important. Active life, sedentary life is now next to smoking. And I am guilty of that. For this webinar, I went 3 hours straight preparing slides. I forgot to take breaks in between. Nature, for those of you privileged to be in nature, please get out, walk out, absorb the beauty of nature. And as I said before, you need to express yourself. And because we have cancer built in here, screening is very, very important. Women, please examine your breasts. Go online. We spend our time Googling so many unnecessary things. Figure out how to examine yourself once in a month, in the shower, lying down. Early detection is very, very important. Follow your menstrual cycles. Keep up with your OBGYN. Screening, but done with a very soft approach, not a fearful approach, is very, very important. And then the most important part of the science of mind-body connection is resetting ourselves, the pause button. And this pause button is extremely difficult. Why is it so difficult to set the pause button for ourselves? Because we have 70,000 thoughts per day, 47% not connected to what we are doing. I know so many clients who will tell me, we were cooking in the kitchen or we were gardening, and suddenly I thought, what if my daughter gets into an accident? What if my granddaughter starts taking drugs? What if, what if the baby that she's carrying runs into some abnormality? And the thoughts just go, 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 go. And before you know, you've built a whole complex web of thoughts inside yourself. 2/3 of the random thoughts are negative. 95% are driven by the subconscious mind. So you see, we need a lot of help to catch that we are possessed by such thoughts. I'm not even talking about a tool of how to overcome, but just catching it itself is a big training. Because even to be happy and positive, we need some training in today's life. What Heartfulness offers is an extremely deep relaxation. Those of you who've tuned in the previous sessions probably have been with us through it. And by relaxation, I don't mean just watching a movie or playing carom with your children. I mean, those are very, very important. That's bonding time. That's family time. But what I mean by deep relaxation is when we withdraw completely from all sorts of external stimulation. And, if you just envision a tortoise and how the tortoise puts all its limbs under its shell and just stays like that, that is the kind of deep relaxation that we look for. And that allows us to reach very safe spaces within ourselves. And in Heartfulness, we always start with this deep relaxation of the body first, because when we reach that relaxed state, we will be able to slip into the other tools that help us deeply in our journey of life. So I thought rather than just me talking at the screen all through and we would pause right here to actually enjoy such a relaxation. So if everybody is with me, and if you can put your phones on silent and you can sit in the most comfortable position for you, with your legs down, doesn't have to be folded, whatever is comfortable, we will go through the Heartfulness relaxation for the body at this moment. It's about 7 minutes, and turning off your phones in silent mode would help you through this. So if you're ready, let's start. Please sit in the position that is most comfortable to you. We will start with our feet. Wiggle your feet, your toes, and let them relax. Feel the energy from earth entering your feet and relaxing your feet and ankles. The energy travels upwards, relaxing your legs, relaxing your knees and your thighs. Feel your entire legs relaxing. Relax your stomach, your waist and your hips. Feel the energy flow into your back, from the top of your head, down your shoulders, down your entire back till the tip of your tailbone. Your entire back is relaxed. The energy flows into your shoulders. Any tightness, worries, constrictions that you may have here are dissolving away. And as your shoulders relax, feel them melting away. The energy flows into your arms. Relax your upper arms, elbows, lower arms, wrist, palms, and all the way to the tips of your fingers. Let the energy flow into your chest, relaxing your chest, traveling up and relaxing your neck muscles. Bring your awareness to your face. Relax your jaws, your mouth, nose, deeply back into your eyes, your 2 ears, all the muscles in your face, your forehead, and all the way till the top of your head. Feel your entire body from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, completely relaxed. Slowly bring your attention to your heart. Allow yourself to draw your attention inwards, feeling light and love in your heart. And as you breathe gently and relax into this space, set an intention for yourself, one of awareness and care for yourself. Take a minute more to enjoy this relaxation. And you may open your eyes. So, this is not an interactive session, and I cannot solicit response as to how you're feeling. But usually, after such a relaxation, the mind, body, heart, everything just wants to plunge into meditation, which is the next step in the heartfulness sequence. And what we have here is a heart based meditation where we actually rest our awareness on the heart. And bit by bit, we go into a very, very deep and nourishing silence. This is something really to be experienced rather than speak about it. And I'm sure the Natural Path Heartfulness Center will give many offerings for you to experience this. But I would like to share here that heart is very important organ and space to meditate on, because apart from all its great benefits, the one thing that it teaches you is not to react but to respond. So, one of my friends was telling me recently, which I really loved, is that if you look at meditation as a very silent activity, so basically there's no activity at all, the opposite of meditation would be activity. And she said, the opposite is not activity, Viji. The opposite is reactivity. You know, when we don't relax, when we don't plunge into ourselves, what really stays with us is reaction. You know, we react to everything, all external and internal stimulus thrown to us that really puts us into dis-ease. But as we refine ourselves and relax ourselves through meditation, relaxation, and many other heartfulness tools, we get into a mode of response. And visualize for yourself what response is. It means taking a pause, it's poise, it's equanimity, it's being centered within ourselves. It's a much better way to deal with ourselves and the world around us. So I encourage others who have not tried heartfulness meditation to please do so and see the results for yourself. The other important tool is mental detox. Remember the slide we had where there's a guy who has a vacuum cleaner and he's trying to vacuum the thoughts out of his head? We have a beautiful tool called cleaning, which is a mental detox and heartfulness. And it's just like taking a bath, but you're taking an inside bath. But one of the things that I have been actually it's a very powerful metaphor for me is, if you see the human body, from the time that a child is born, its first cry, the child knows how to detox its internal organs by itself. It has a cold, the lungs will detoxify through the nose. You have a stomach that is upset, the stomach will detoxify via bowel movements. You have lots of toxins in your body, the skin will detoxify by the sweat. Almost every internal organ of the body knows how to detoxify. And so you know where I'm going. The only thing that doesn't know how to detoxify is the mind. We are not born programmed to clean our mind. We just add to it, add to it, add to it, add to it. Impressions from every day, all along, years and years, our reactions, what happens to us in the world. Everything is layers and layers and layers of grime, dust, and complexity in the mind. So we have to learn how to detoxify our minds. And this tool of heartfulness has always been my favorite, and I share this with all my clients, because imagine being able to give your heart and your mind a bath every day. It's unparalleled to have such a tool in today's world. So we've been seeing, what are the tools to prevent chronic disease, what we can do for ourselves in order to remain in harmony with our mind and body. We may have people who are on this conversation who are in the middle of treatments for cancer, who are maybe just diagnosed and have a lot of fear and trepidation about it. So I would like to just briefly put in a few things about the kind of support we offer such people. And again, it is not a substitute for medical treatment, but we support you very deeply. Using the same tools that I spoke about, which we modify to the rhythm of each patient, what we are able to give patients is an ability of deep courage, positivity, and inner strength. And this was in the 1970s. There was one doctor, Dr. Bernie Siegel, beautiful book, Love, Medicine, and Miracles, who actually demonstrated that what you do with your mind during diagnosis and treatment is as important as what you do with your body. For example, people who were in jobs that they didn't like forever, and after they got diagnosed in the middle of treatment, they left the job, they healed much better. People who wanted to change homes, people who came out of toxic relationships, people who had beautiful relationships but were not giving it the right amount of energy. So he actually put together beautiful studies that showed that if you put your energy and thought process on that thing called life, the disease takes care of itself along with treatments. And that's what we do over here. We support you at a very, very deep level. And we have people who are, again, this is not about success stories. We have people who succumb to at their stage of cancer, but we have people who go from disease to surviving, and not just surviving, to thriving. And the beauty of this program is also that we give a lot of support to caregivers. Being a caregiver is extremely difficult. The guilt, the exhaustion, going to bed in a very, very restless state. And the tools that we offer allow you to go down with the quiet of the night, rebuild yourself as you sleep, and get up in the morning and start all over again. Remember the first chart that I put up on the science of the mind body connection? I've added much more here. And these tools, now there are wonderful books that are showing that these tools are really important. More and more oncologists are supporting the connection of the mind body. Their studies are validating it. So I would really like you to take this to heart, and please add counseling to your list of things you can do to support to yourself. Deep listening, this is very important. Find a friend or two who can actually listen to you very well. And if you are not a cancer patient right now, if you are a cancer thriver already, or you are compassionate and empathetic to people suffering from these, train yourself to become a deep listener. Believe me, it is not an art that you're born with. It's not a skill that you're born with. We have to train ourselves to deeply listen to somebody, meaning that our judgment, our desperate need to give somebody a solution, which is, men like to do that a lot, and some women too, is not necessary at all. We have to hold our people who are suffering in such a deep space of love, connection, and resonance, and simply say, I'm here, use me as your sounding board. I'm here to listen to what you have to say. This is very, very effective, just not for cancer, but for all sorts of problems. So I encourage us to develop this as women. Again, active life. But what I brought in here are two very important tools. Therapy. Again, addressing your feelings, but not to somebody else, through other forms, through music, through art, through poetry, through writing. And before, I had the pause or the reset button, and I have brought meditation back in here, because it is undoubtedly the single most tool that allows the patient to have a fountain of rejuvenation within themselves. I have put up some testimonials over here, because I just feel that it should not become a mumbo jumbo kind of a thing, This science of mind-body connection is very real, and it is here to stay. And in the olden days, when there were communities and communities of people and they took it for granted, it was not dealt with in a scientific way. This is how they lived, supporting each other, listening to each other, clean air, good food. They walked everywhere. The lifestyle was very conducive to well-being. We're nowhere close to that. And we really have to find ways to empower ourselves. And here is a technique. These are from cancer patients, but there are many, many normal people with this ease which have the same stories. I have people who have to go to the hospital to get their blood pressure checked. And it's kind of ironic, right? You go because your blood pressure is high. Then the moment you step into a hospital, your blood pressure is even higher, because now you're scared. You're scared that your blood pressure is going to be high. Doctor will prescribe more, a medication for you, and this is a very, very bad loop for you. And I know that they just sit down and they practice this deep relaxation, or they find that center in themselves of being centered in and losing themselves in meditation deep in. And when they go to check their blood pressure, it's not escalated because of the fear or the worry. So, sleep issues, gratitude, thankfulness, all of these are not just important to cancer patients, important to all of us, so that this can be removed and we can be in harmony and in ease. I would this we do not have an opportunity to interact with each other over here, and I would have loved to take questions. But I would like to say that the most important thing that you can do for yourselves today is, we talked about it, right? Take some time to get in touch with your feelings. Set an intention of awareness for yourself today. Find one thing that you can incorporate in your life that will help you. Last week, I conducted a workshop for women, and one of the questions I asked them was, list 5 people in your life that you take care of. I had 55 women on the group, and not even one person had listed themselves. Okay? I mean, for me, that was a really eye-opener, you know. I'm not saying we have to be on the top of the list. We don't have to be selfish. We can be even at the bottom of the list. But not being on the list is not okay, you know. So this taking care of ourselves is important. And again, it doesn't mean that you throw a tantrum into your house today and say, I need to go for a spa to Istanbul. It's not practical for many of us. But if it can be something simple where, you can soak your feet in hot water, you can set a small corner of your house for your meditation, for your heartfulness meditation, relaxation, cleaning. If you could write a journal, that you could pass on to your daughter or son, small things that you can do in a day that is actually taking care of yourself. And over the years, many of my beautiful friends and my husband have always reminded me that I don't do these things for myself. So whatever I have shared with you today is not preach, but something that I have put in towards my journey of life. So take some time today and find what it is that you can do to take care of yourself that will uplift yourself, as well as help you radiate this joy and equanimity and serenity to all around you. But most important of all, today, before we finish the session, all the women on this group, I would like you to give a nice big hug to yourself. And for the fathers, sons, husbands, brothers on this call, hold on to it, go home, and hug the woman of your life. I really hope that you've given yourself a hug. I can't see you. And I hope you cherish it. And I hope it is one more step today towards taking care of yourself, so that you can be available in a beautiful way for everybody around you also, which is the fundamental purpose for many women. And with that, I will close. Heartfulness meditation in your country, you know how to reach people. If you have somebody going through cancer, you're a patient yourself or a caregiver, please write to us at care@heartfulness.org, and we will be more than glad. We are very committed to supporting you in this journey. All our sessions are free of charge, so please don't let that deter you from reaching out to us. Irrespective of religion, irrespective of workplace, irrespective of culture, we offer support to everybody through the CARE program. Wishing you all a very good evening, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Sister Viji, for sharing valuable information on women well care and cancer care. Also taking us a very deep, relaxed mode. Thank you so much. We enjoyed your session a lot.
Thank you very much.
So now, with this, we'll conclude the session here. I would like to thank all the attendees on behalf of Natural Path Heartfulness Center, and heartfully invite all for upcoming sessions tomorrow. If you have interest in meditation, please reach out to us in the given links.
Good evening. These are the various offerings which we have from the Heartfulness. So, You Connect, Corporate Connect, Village Connect, Law Connect. So, you name it, we have these offerings which are available. These are a few of the organizations where we have conducted Heartfulness session, and many of their members are following the Heartfulness practice. Coming to Heartfulness Oman, uh, it existed in Oman since mid 90s, and Natural Path Heartfulness formally we registered it in 2016, and activities in Oman are heartfulness, relaxation, and meditation for general public. We conduct. We have two group meditations uh, every week. In fact, present because of the lockdown, we have three group meditations in a week, which are now online. You can sit at your respective place and meditate. These are on these are on Friday, on Monday, and Wednesday. We also had the U Connect, C Connect. These are various programs we have done here for various organizations. So if you are part of organization and you want to be, us to conduct a session, we are available. We can always conduct the session here. We also do the value-based education for children, which is done for the children below the age of 15. We also have started a new initiative which is called Sharing is Caring. So do join us. Tomorrow we have a session at 6 p.m. Exclusively on this Sharing is Caring, which is a family activity. We also have 13 trainers in Oman. So these trainers are available for one-to-one sessions if you need. You can always connect to us. We also have ladies trainers in case if you want to connect to them. You can always reach to them. And all our services here and even globally are free of charge related to meditation and relaxation and all those. So this is about activities here. You can also see on your screen, these are some of the books which are very important to shape our approach towards life, to destiny. So we request you can also uh, go to our website, the e-magazines which are available free. You can also connect to WhatsApp, which is available on Play Store, and also try the practice online. We also have a ebook on practice which is available. If you connect to us, we can also send you it by email or through WhatsApp. So you are most welcome. These are the various sessions we have conducted. So today was the fifth session, which is on 18th, and tomorrow is the last session in the run up to the International Yoga Day, which is on 19th, and it is on Sharing is Caring, as I mentioned. So this is also a very, very good initiative, and I request all family members and even children, they can become part of it, and do join us tomorrow for this session. So these are details. You can have a look again. We have Hearts app you can download. You can also connect to the YouTube channel and other website. Please note down the contacts. These are our local contacts here, and you can always reach to any of these contacts which are shown on your screen, and we can reach out to you to make you learn the meditation, the heartfulness meditation, and help you to balance your existence. So I'll just hold this slide for a few minutes if you want to note down these numbers which are available on your screen.